Somalia has slowly been experiencing a transition into calm and order, and we were curious to find out what the millions of internally and externally displaced persons were returning to. So we took two trips, December 2012 and November 2013, with the view to establish the situation, and this is what we found out. Malnutrition levels among the children under 5 years were high. There was no formal education in most of the IDP camps. Insecurity was rampant in the camps. Schools were clan-based to a great extent and were also charging unaffordable fees. Gatekeepers kept the IDPs locked up for economic gains and often rejected visitors who would expose the business they were doing by holding the IDPs. Women suffered sexual harassment as they walked across the city to look for work and food, and majority of men did not have any work to do. All the IDPs we talked to wanted to return home with support to restart their lives. They said that life in Mogadishu was dehumanizing them. In response, with the help of the UN Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, International Committee of the Red Cross, and Mercy Corps, 3,000 families were taken back to their homeland as a pilot project. Drought is what caused them to move to Mogadishu. Now the drought has eased, and they're anxious to go back home to engage with farming. Their present bottleneck is that they lost everything back home and need support to get home and further support to settle down. We had planned to visit Kuntunware and Koriole districts and hopefully Sablale, those still under Al-Shabaab control as of March 20th, 2015, firstly to assess firsthand the livelihood conditions of the 3,000 families' settlement after 1 year together with the host communities. Due to schedule and logistical challenges, we were only able to fly to Kuntunware. The findings here can be generally applied to the rest of the districts. On arrival in Kuntunware town by UN helicopter, an Amazon security team and the district commissioner received us. We were oriented to the mission at hand and the places to be visited. We took a tour to selected interest areas meant to enrich our assessment. These included the schools, hospital building, farm canals, and drive through town to see commercial activities of the people. After the tour, owing to the security sensitivity, we settled in a community gathering of 800 plus Kuntunware residents in a meeting hall earlier used as grain holding store during Said Barre's regime. Challenges noted. 1. Agriculture. The canals in Kuntunware come 8 kilometers from the river, dry and heavily silted. Water cannot reach the farm during dry season when it's most needed. Natural rainfall has not been sufficient in the last 3 years. Where it had rained, crops had not matured to be harvested except for a few Simpson farms. There is no technical staff in the region to offer technical support in good farm practices and crop husbandry. This leaves the community at the level of traditional practices that do not cope sufficiently with climate change challenges. 2. Animal health challenges. No health support and animals are equally affected by the drought and lack of nearby drinking water. 3. Human health challenges. There are no public health facilities in most districts of Lower Shabelle. The previous government health center in the visited town was last operational in 1991. It is now used as a home for some families. Over 65,000 people in this town depended on this facility but now have no local medical help. No trained traditional birth attendants to provide safe delivery of babies. 4. Lack of education. No public schools in Kuntunware, population 65,000, among which over 20,000 are of school age. The public school in the visited town closed many years back and is now converted to an IDP's camp. The structures are sufficient to host many children and look repairable, but no spaces remaining for children and there are no teachers. 50 meters from the government school buildings is a school built with the help of an international NGO on a private plot, and the owner is the headmaster of the school. It holds 236 children who have to pay. Even such private schools have their own challenges. Donor support. Donor community lacks the capacity to visit the ground and ascertain the extent of implementation and evaluation of its impact due to obstacles created by some of the local non-government organizations. Even in the Amazon liberated areas, the wider donor community has not made productive connections to help provide meaningful support to those who need it most. We were said to be the first non-locals to arrive in that community since 1991, besides the presence of Amazon soldiers. Currently, in many districts, the presence of Amazon troops provides a true sense of security and returning to normalcy, but Somali forces are absent in many of those places. The acceptance of international staff on the ground, their security and accommodation remain to be ascertained.